Hello, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube. My name is Mr. Maxwell, and welcome back to another side quest about video games with myself and Exilemagpie.
Hello.
Bit of a, well, not a slow week, but nothing big.
No, nothing.
In the sense of like,
I suppose
good
it's
news.
yeah. I suppose it's. I mean, you know, there's the game industry. There's plenty of bad news going around.
Also, I think I've got the bug that's going around. Hence my voice is a bit.
Voice is a bit rough.
A bit
Great.
rough.
So that'll be me in about 2 days' time.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Right.
Makes a change it be you coming to me instead of the other way around, though.
Yeah, that's true.
So.
That's true. Okay, right. So first off, most likely, unless you live under a rock or you just don't follow gaming, everybody's probably already heard about this. Take-Two Interactive to lay off 5% of workforce and scrap several games or projects.
But don't worry, guys. The AAA game industry is perfectly fine.
Video game publishing giant Take-Two Interactive is laying off 5% of its workforce. Approximately. I got there in the end. That's the important thing. It's not the destination; it's the journey.
Yes.
Right. 600 employees and cancelling several projects currently in development as part of a cost-cutting initiative across the company behind Grand Theft Auto.
Yes.
Yeah. Grand Theft Auto.
The people behind Grand Theft Auto. The people who have Grand Theft Auto Online money.
The people who have Grand Theft Auto 6 coming out.
Yes.
Next year.
That will sell absolute gangbusters because it's Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
Just an FYI, this is the same company that has just decided to massively increase its CEO's wages.
Yeah.
Almost as if they didn't need to release that 600 staff.
Yep, pretty much. As part of these efforts, the company is rationalising its pipeline. What? And eliminating several projects in development and streamlining its organisational structure.
In other words, it's just going to be making NBA and Grand Theft Auto. The AAA game industry is becoming ever so, how do I put it? Small in releases.
Yeah, which will eliminate headcount and reduce future hiring needs per Take-Two's filings. Take-Two's cost cuts come on the heels of a slew of layoffs throughout the gaming industry, including reductions at Sony PlayStation, EA, Microsoft, Riot Games, and Epic Games, and many others.
So I'm waiting for one of the big companies to go under now because they're all betting they're having eggs in even smaller baskets now. This
one's the one that, like, out of all of them, this one feels to be the most egregious.
It's simply they fired up 600 people so that the CEO can get a pay rise.
Get a pay rise or a bonus.
And it not affect the profits.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's a bold getting rid of the people that actually, you know, make the product that gives you the money. It's a bold strategy, Connor. Let's see how it works out.
Like, this one is just, like, why? Other than, obviously, CEO. But... Greed.
It's greed.
You look at it and you just go, but you make Grand Theft Auto.
You have Grand Theft Auto money.
Like, you released Grand Theft Auto 5, like, 722 times. Like, you could probably release it again and
make
even more money.
Yeah.
And it just... It's getting ridiculous.
I think this industry, and when I say that, I mean the AAA game industry, I think it needs to literally suffer a hemorrhage of wealth. Because the money's going into the company, but it's not being used to develop new games. It's not being used to pay staff. It's not being used to advance the standards of gaming, etc., etc. No, it's just going into the board of directors and CEO wages and shares, and that's all that's happening. The money's going nowhere. It might as well not exist, and I've been saying that for quite a while now. If you are a fucking multi-billionaire and have your money swapped in a bank in the fucking Canary Islands or whatever tax haven you've got, that money might as well not fucking exist because it doesn't do anything. It's a fucking.
The thing is, like, when you think about it, like, you've got Grand Theft Auto, right? Grand Theft Auto makes a fair amount of money for Take Two.
Yes.
I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
Right. So you're telling me you couldn't just hold on for a year till Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out?
Well, no, because
a year
because it's the end of the financial year. They have to make their books look amazing for the end of the financial year because otherwise the investors would pull out.
I just wouldn't care. I'm just turning around to investors and go Grand Theft Auto 6.
Grand Theft Auto 6 is coming out in.
That's all you got to do.
Coming out next year.
You didn't make as much profit this year. Well, we've got Grand Theft Auto 6 next year, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be one of the biggest selling games of all time. That's a given.
It's going to make stupid money.
Even if it does half of what everyone expects it to do, it'll be one of the biggest selling games of all time.
Yeah. You've got nothing to worry about.
It's guaranteed money.
This is the thing. Like, there's nothing to worry about here. Why are you cancelling these projects and cutting jobs? There's literally no reason.
Agreed. Two things. Either A, they overhired people during the pandemic, which is partially true.
Probably.
Or B, they are now at the point of the ridiculous, ever-increasing profit number.
Yeah.
The unrealistic assumption that it just will keep to infinity, going up. And now they're at the point where they're having to do ridiculous stuff, like literally severing their own arm by sacking people to make that profit. The problem is that eventually you cut so much that you can't cut anymore. And that's when you have to have something else, a backup plan. And these people don't have a backup plan because these people aren't actually in the positions they are because they're actually good at their jobs. They're there because of who they know and how much money they had in the first place. They don't understand the market they're in. So instead of, getting a bunch of IPs to pick up the slack if there is any, they just put all their eggs in one basket, keep firing people until it negatively affects the one product they now have.
Yeah.
And when it bombs, they have nothing to recover from. And the company goes bust. Now, granted, Grand Theft Auto 6, I doubt that's gonna happen.
No.
But the problem is that eventually the expectation of the amount of profit they will be making will be so stupidly high that not even Grand Theft Auto will be able to match the demands.
Yeah.
And then the floor will fall, the bubble will burst, and we will get a major company go under. Because that's what's happened. That's the trend it's going to.
Yeah.
You have EA shoving all its eggs into Ultimate Team. You have Take-Two shoving all its eggs into Grand Theft Auto. You have Activision Blizzard shoving all its eggs into COD because they were basically butchering every single Blizzard IP known to man.
Yeah.
And Sony and Microsoft are not immune to this as well. They've been doing seriously stupid decisions as
Sony are trying to get a live service.
Yeah. Sony are constantly trying to get a live service, failing every time.
And Microsoft just keep telling people that their games suck.
Yeah. The difference, I think the thing that saves Microsoft and Sony from doing what the other game publishers are doing, your Take-Two's, your EA's, your Ubisoft's, is that they have a consoles to sell.
Yeah.
And even though Microsoft, Phil Spencer, the fucking idiot, keeps going on about
still in charge.
Keeps going on about games don't sell consoles. The evidence is clearly the opposite, and there's going to be at least one person in a decision of authority that will be literally going, no, we're making good games. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Phil, go fuck off. Go smooch with the senior execs at Microsoft. Do whatever the fuck you want. I'm here in the games department, just trying to actually fix the shit show that you've caused. Because instead of actually, getting quantity, you've got Bethesda.
Yeah. Oh, you mean quality?
Oh, yeah, quality as well.
You know what's really annoying about Xbox? Is that every year I've gone, you know what, this year could be a good year for Xbox. And then they just turn around and go, oh, Maxwell has said we're going to have a good year. Let's prove him wrong, guys. Come on. Everybody, come on.
The thing is, it's like, you look at the IPs and the games that they show, like early trailers and all that, and you go, this could be a potential. Like, Halo Infinite. When they first initially dropped that teaser trailer, it was like, Halo Infinite. We're going back to, basics, back to like what the original trilogy was like.
Yeah.
And people are like, yes, this the fan base. Yes, this is what we wanted. Please give us that. The original trilogy type of gameplay and all that, but with ease of life changes and all that sort of stuff, better UI, etc., etc. And then they release the first gameplay trailer of Halo Infinite, and everyone was like, "Oh, this is not what was advertised." And then it's just like Microsoft. You have IPs. You have really good IPs you could use to help sell your console. You have them. But instead you give people Redfall, Starfield, and Halo Infinite. All three massively underwhelming for what they promised to be. The fact that some people are still trying to state that Starfield is a RPG of a generation. It's not even an RPG of a day.
No.
Let alone a year, a decade, or a generation.
It's not even a game. It's not even a game.
This is the game.
Starfield is now, right? So because everything's like online in that, it's hard to punish children, right? Yeah. Starfield is punishment.
Yes.
You do something wrong, you are forced to play Starfield. You've got no choice. It is Starfield. That is all you have.
But it's just like the IPs, Microsoft. I know we've digressed from Take-Two, but it's
well, don't worry,
the industry as a whole is just
Take-Two is the same.
Absolute,
Take-Two has BioShock.
Yeah, it has BioShock. It has an absolute load of
it has quite
IPs,
a few IPs
that it could use.
Do they do Borderlands? I
know
that's Gearbox.
It was Gearbox, but it was published by Take-Two. So, but it's just the gaming industry, and I mean this like I said before, like the AAA game industry is just so disconnected with the actual
market. Well, just the market.
I mean, you just have to look at Helldivers to Content Warning, Lethal Company. I mean, look at those three games.
Look at games that are coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Stellar Blade.
And yeah.
You just have to look at Stellar Blade and you go, okay, people want that.
Yeah, Stellar Blade. You look at those four IPs, right? Helldivers. No one expected it to explode the way it did.
No.
And the same with Lethal Company and Content Warning.
Mm.
Especially since I think Lethal Company and Content Warning are
just recently released games. Poppy's Playtime Chapter 3.
Mm-hmm.
Bendy's...
Oh yeah, there's a new Bendy.
There's a new Bendy. It's kind of... It's more of to show you what's coming. But it's done in a game. So it's pretty well done. It's actually quite well done.
But the point I'm making is if you make a good game, people will buy it.
Exactly.
And not and the market has shown that if you now release an unfinished product, people are not going to accept it anymore. There are plenty of games that are in absolute turmoil because of it. City Skylines 2 is one of them. Which is a massive shame, because like you can see the difference between City Skylines and then like a Redfall is that you can see the core like foundations of the game is good, but it's like everything that they put on top of it hasn't worked. Unlike Redfall, where the concept of that game,
everything about that game
is wrong.
Like
Suicide Squad, the very concept of that game, a looter shooter with the cast of the Suicide Squad, fails utterly. It makes no sense. There's a disattachment of the gameplay type and the cast of characters that you potentially can see. Like, I mean, you know, the joke. Boomerang's most iconic weapon, a shotgun. Captain fucking Boomerang. It's in the name. Like, and again, we go on about it over and over again. Like, it's like I don't want Grand Theft Auto 6 to fail.
Of course not.
I don't want it to fail. And I don't think it will fail. I think because it is that important to Take-Two, and most importantly to Rockstar.
Yeah.
But I don't think they'll mess too much with it. They will make sure
it'll be Grand Theft Auto.
It'll be a Grand Theft. Yeah, it'll be
the actual base game will still be good.
Yeah,
but the stuff that they get put in will be on.
I am kind of worried that they'll go like they'll not put as much effort into the story campaign.
Yeah,
a la Activision Blizzard.
I think that is something to be worried about.
As like Call of Duty and other games that have then just
other companies like Activision did it with COD, EA's done it with all their sports games.
Yeah.
Ubisoft did it with Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. So I'm worried that
it wouldn't surprise me if that happened.
I'm worried that the single player campaign, the story campaign, which in a Grand Theft Auto game is usually a very large, very like today's setting almost, or the timeline that it's set in. For example, like San Andreas.
Was the 90s?
Was the 90s and the riots.
Yeah.
In in LA.
Yeah.
At that time, so it was like the 80s/90s sort of thing, early 90s.
This one's going to be we're back to Vice City, aren't we?
Yeah, we're going back to Vice City, but as far as I know, and as far as I can tell, it is modern day.
Modern day.
Same with Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah.
Which is fine, because 5's... No, it does it quite well.
I might actually play this one, because Vice City was my favourite.
Yeah.
Vice
City, Grand Theft Auto Vice City was set in the 80s, and there's a lot of Scarface references and Miami Vice and all that sort of stuff.
Was it 80s? It was like... No, it was 80s, yeah.
It was 80s.
It was 80s, because
a lot of neon.
Hall & Oates and a lot of neon, yeah.
Yeah. So, I am kind of worried.
I'm worried now, with them fucking firing 600 people.
Oh, God, yeah, because...
At first, I was like, "Oh well, you know, it's just gonna be Grand Theft Auto. It's gonna be there. The only thing that made me look at it, because I'm not a huge Grand Theft Auto fan. The only thing that made me look at it was the fact that it was Vice City.
Yeah,
and I was like, okay, maybe I'll give it a chance. But now I'm like, you've sacked
600 people.
600 people. That affects things.
Yeah, that negatively impacts.
Because it hasn't said where they're from. I know they've gone. Oh well, they've stopped other projects.
Cancelling projects.
What
projects?
What are
they
projects?
actual different games? Are they parts of the development of Grand?
Yeah, were they going to be? Was it going to be DLC stuff? Was it going to be?
Well, Grand Theft Auto they're never doing DLC ever again. They're not doing.
I know,
DLC
but you know what I mean. You know, ask the questions like, what exactly were these projects that were cancelled? Was it side-on stuff to go on to Grand Theft Auto? Was it extra? Was it an extra island? Was it like what the fuck was it?
Yeah, what were they actually working on? So, and obviously, you know.
And then when, like you said, and then he comes out and being like, "Oh, well, the CEO's upped his pay right after they've sacked 600 people."
Yeah.
You're like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Like, do you not read the fucking room?
Yeah.
Read the room.
There's a part of me that doesn't want Grand Theft Auto 6 to fail, but there's another part of me that wants companies like Take-Two and EA to get their fucking comeuppance finally, and have Grand Theft Auto be another game that is undermined.
The thing is, it's going to happen the way you said it.
Yeah,
like this Grand Theft Auto 6 will sell like gangbusters.
Yeah,
but then the next game that comes out, next game that they want to do, which may possibly be Red Dead 3.
I doubt it.
I doubt it, but like I'm saying it possibly.
Possibly.
Or it's just going to be Grand Theft Auto 7, right? Like you said, it's just going to get higher and higher and more unrealistic.
Yeah.
And I think what a lot of the Western companies, they need to go the way that Capcom did and realise that they are being unrealistic with their things. Like Sony definitely needs to fucking do that.
Oh, yeah.
And stop setting unrealistic fucking targets.
Square Enix as well.
Square Enix is another one. It's just like they really need... All the companies need to start looking and going...
It needs to make a profit.
At least, yeah.
It needs to make a profit, and then anything else...
I get that. It needs to make a profit. But at the same time, you also need to look... You need to read the fucking room. You need to look at the market. You need to look at like what's going on in the world.
The thing is, like if making a profit is just natural. You release a product on the basis that it should make a profit. The problem is that the gaming industry, like your EAs, like they don't want just a profit. They want like a $20 billion fucking profit.
They want like 300 to 400% profit, and that's what I mean. Like you need to start actually when you release a game of going like, okay, so we're releasing this game.
It's cost this much to make.
It's cost this much to make. We're selling it for 70 quid.
Yeah.
Right?
It's gonna...
A lot of the places that we're selling to, they can't even afford to pay their bills.
Mm.
And you were expecting them to spend 70 quid
on a game.
Like, and this is the point of where we're getting to. Like, when you're releasing these games into these areas, like over here, right? You've got to have some expectation of being like, yeah, we're probably not going to be... We shouldn't be selling this at 70 quid if we're expecting to make a humongous amount of profit.
We've got to
because
make it
people
affordable.
are just going to be... Yeah, you need to start making things affordable. 70 quid a game is ridiculous.
The problem is that they... Again, because they're so disconnected to the market, a lot of these people who make these decisions on pricing and expectations think money is an infinite resource because they don't have any problems income-wise. They don't have worries of mortgages because they can just go to $1 million mansion and go, I want that, and do you want cash or check?
Yeah, that's true.
They don't have an understanding of the actual value of money.
Mm.
And so because it's the only way that makes sense of the way they decide on things, like the fact that they monetize games as much as they do now, the fact that like they want extra money on top of $70, the fact that Ubisoft literally decided to paywall the only interesting quest line that they've shown so far in their soon to be released Star Wars game, like, and the fact that they want a battle pass in a single player game.
Yeah,
they want you to pay $70 and then pay an extra $10 or $15 for a battle pass, and then spend an extra God knows how much,
probably $15 for
the Jabba the Hutt quest line. Like, do you not understand the actual value of actual money?
No.
And the only way that makes sense of them is not. Yeah, they don't understand it, because if people actually knew, if they knew the actual value or the actual dollar in their hand, they wouldn't turn around to someone who is on not even a 10th or even 100th of what they're on, and going, well, you don't obviously deserve, you should pay more money to get the full game.
Yeah.
It's fucking bullshit.
Yep.
And I just basically hope the board of directors of Take-Two, EA, Activision Blizzard, all etc. Just, you know, I hope you guys, I hope you people end up with no money, because you don't deserve it.
Right. We shall move on. Did you play The Crew?
No.
No, neither did I. It mainly because it's a driving game, and it's also
You're
Ubisoft.
not Ubisoft. Yeah, and it's Ubisoft.
Yeah, The Crew, Ubisoft's 2014 racing game, closed its doors on March 31st. Yes, it did.
Yes,
Yes,
it did.
They also shut off the shares.
Yeah, they also shut off the servers. They also suspended all the keys. So even if you had physically downloaded the game, you couldn't, or physically had the game, you can't play it.
Nope.
It's literally not playable. This is from a company that said gamers should be should get more comfortable with not owning our games. This is the exact reason why we don't trust you fuckers.
Ubisoft have now taken the extra step of revoking the Crew licenses from purchasers.
It's basically theft.
And removing it from their library.
It's theft.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm sorry, but if I've bought a game and the company then decides to just take the game off me for no reasons other than they don't want to pay for the service, then they should refund me the money I've paid for, because I've paid for a fucking functioning game, and now it's no longer functioning because of their actions.
Players have reported that The Crew have moved in their Ubisoft Connect libraries to a new inactive game section.
Of course Ubisoft had one of those.
I'm waiting for the other games to start putting in. I'm trying to think, what other games would they put in?
Crew 2.
Ghost Recon.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if they did that for Ghost Recon?
Yeah.
Wildlands.
Yeah.
Oh god, I could see Division.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my god,
The Division
what did
2.
they do with the Division?
The Division 2. I can guarantee you they'll first do it to the Division, and then they'll do it to the Division 2, because they won't want to maintain the servers on it. And it's like, well, if you don't want to maintain the servers, here's an idea. Why don't you just put a patch out so that, you know, people can play it offline, or they can host themselves, sort of thing. Like, so that, you know, people still are able to play the game they fucking paid for.
Yeah, they've been moved to a new inactive games section from which it can no longer be downloaded and installed. Clicking on the entry instead presents a message that reads, "You no longer have access to this game."
They've literally just
they can't even like turn around and be like, "Yeah, we've like give a message of we have turned the servers off," or something like that. No. You cannot. You're not allowed to play this game.
Yeah. This is the future the gaming industry wants. They want to be able to just basically switch of a game that they no longer want to support.
Oh, here you go. That doesn't end there. Why not check the store to pursue your adventures?
No. Ubisoft. The scenario here does not end with me wanting to spend more money with you. The scenario here ends with me not wanting to buy anything you ever make ever again, and then demand my money back for the game I've already bought that you have now robbed from me.
Although playable alone, The Crew relied on online services to operate. With those servers offline, it's unplayable for everyone, even for those who own physical editions. There have been some hope that the community might be able to reverse engineer the game enough to launch fan servers, which I don't understand. Why don't you just let them do that? You're not maintaining the servers. It's
because they don't want those players playing that game. They want those players playing
the new one.
the Crew 2 and the Crew Motorfest.
Yeah.
They don't want players playing old games because they can't get money off those players playing old games. They have to play the new game, so that they have to buy all the DLC and the time savers and the EXP boosts and all the all the microtransactions.
I generally love the fact that they now have an inactive game section. Like, why? Who does that?
Ubisoft.
Oh my god.
Honestly, someone should take them to court. Someone should take them to court for the fucking theft of people's actual bought property.
Jesus fucking Christ.
And Ubisoft should have Ubisoft should be forced to do one or two things. Either refund everyone who has ever bought that game, or forced to make a patch so that the game can be played either offline or with user service.
It needs to be patched so that you can play it offline.
Yeah.
That's what I think. But
Ubisoft won't want to do that because again, if you can play that game offline, you're just going to play that game, not be forced to play the new one with all its microtransactions and time savers.
What do you reckon? I reckon we're very close to getting an announcement of the Crew 3.
Well, no, because they've just recently released the third Crew
game. But that one's more like
Forza Horizon.
Yeah, like Horizon. What I mean, because you get Forza Horizon and then you get the new Forza, and then you get another Forza Horizon, then you get the new Forza. Then you get another Forza Horizon, then you get the new Forza. It's going to be the Crew.
I love the fact that
a random Crew, the Crew something, and then Crew 3, and then you're going to get random Crew something, Crew 4, and then the Crew something, Crew 5.
I love the fact that it's Motorfest, isn't it? It's the Crew Motorfest or something like that.
Yeah.
I love the fact that they went outside the United States.
Hawaii.
Last time I checked, Hawaii is the 50th state.
That was my favourite part of the whole thing. That was my favourite thing. Like, outside of the US, Hawaii is the
50th
state.
Hawaii is actually a part of the United States. It has been for a while.
In his defence, he's French.
True, but still. Like, if I was from Hawaii, I'd be pissed. I'd be very annoyed.
You're not part of... They're not a part of the US. Ubisoft has said so.
An awful lot of American settlers went over to Hawaii and caused a coup to force them to be annexed by the United States. You know, they went through an awful lot of time and effort to have that happen.
Yeah.
Only for some random French dude to claim that it's not part of the United States.
It's not real, it's all fake. Maybe he's the Donald Trump fan.
Maybe.
Fake news and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, when the
I reckon we're going to get a Crew 3 announcement
possibly
during the Summer Games Fest.
Possibly, but again, like when the AAA game industry goes, why do gamers not trust us? This is the prime example. You over monetize, you under deliver, you give us slop and expect us to pay you to keep the game running so that you can eventually fix it. And then you want us to pat you on the back when you eventually do, and then you they basically decide, no, we don't make money from this game anymore. We will now make it so that no one can play it.
Yeah, costs too much for us to run the service. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It doesn't even cost you, I think, like 1% to run the service of your profits. To run the servers, like, no,
because
just no.
Well, here's another thing, right? How about you actually instead of I don't know, outsourcing your servers at an extortionate rate, how about you make your own? And I know I'm being hyperbole.
Good Lord, no.
Oh, can you imagine Bethesda with their own servers? Jesus Christ.
I mean, they can't even make a game. Could you imagine trying to make a fucking server?
Oh, boy. It'd be funny.
Yeah, it would be. You know what, actually, like, Bethesda servers would make mobile servers look workable. Have you ever tried to play an online game with a mobile phone?
Yeah,
it's not the most fun. It's not pleasant.
It's not great. it's just like
it's fucking stupid.
It's almost like they don't even know what's coming out of their mouths. We gamers should get more comfortable not owning their games. Oh, by the way, this game not many people, but people are still playing. Yeah, we're just going to make it unplayable now because we don't want them to be playing it. We don't want to keep it.
They'll do it to that the Extreme Sport one they've got.
Yeah,
they'll do it to that.
Yeah,
because they'll release another one.
Mm-hmm.
And they want everyone to play that instead.
I mean, it's not the first time a game has become unplayable.
Yeah, I know, but this is the first time. Well, maybe not the first time. This is the first time in recent memory that a company has deliberately shut off the servers for no reason. To be honest with you,
which again is like, and we're going on about it, is because Ubisoft did come out with the whole gamers should be comfortable not owning their games.
In defence of Ubisoft here, a few years ago, I think it was a few years ago, or it might have been last year, they did come out and say they were going to be closing the servers for the crew.
Yeah.
They did come out and say that. They did warn everybody. But the funny thing is,
there was a difference between closing the servers and then revoking everyone's licenses to play the game. There's a difference, because you close a server and eventually the modding community will find a way to get that game playing.
Yeah, they'll make a fan server.
For example, up until it's for example, Star Wars Empire at War had a very strong modding community that basically kept that game going.
Yep.
By themselves. So eventually, the modding community would have found a way to make that game playable again.
Yeah.
They would have found a way to make a server for the game to connect to that server. Because you just have to look at Quake, the Quake series, Unreal Tournament, a whole bunch of others. Yeah, they're small communities, but they're dedicated, and they want to get the game working and to get the best experience from it, and they will find a way, because the modding community, some of them are extremely intelligent and know what they're doing. It's just like, why? I'm literally like, the next time a CEO or a board of director or a chief executive or whatever fucking high up his own ass person in AAA game industry opens their mouth and goes something along the lines of gamers shouldn't be owning their games, they should trust us more, I'm just gonna literally go, do you want to know why we don't trust you? Do you want to know why we don't believe any of this bullshit coming out of your mouth? Go look in a fucking mirror. You are the very reason. If you were actually a decent fucking human being and actually cared about the products that you sold and the people who bought your products, then this wouldn't be a problem. But you don't give a shit. Except for yourself. So, yeah, no. Ubisoft, you're a terrible company. You're a terrible, absolutely self-inflated, egotistical asshole of a company. You deserve to rot in hell. And I hope someone takes you to court to get their money back from them, basically, for all intents and purposes, stealing the game that was rightfully bought.
Yeah. Tell us how you really feel. Tell us how you really feel. Right, moving on. Right, we've talked about Embracer Group a couple of times, so that's why we're going to be doing this one. Embracer Group is splitting up its messy gaming empire into 3 different companies. Now, we already know that they've sold off about 20 studios to Saber Interactive.
Yeah, they sold off a bunch to Saber Interactive, most notably the company that's making Space Marine 2. Saber, yeah.
Saber Interactive.
Yeah, no, but it means that a whole bunch of IPs that Saber originally had before the people left and made Saber, they've got them back, sort of thing. So, but obviously, we've covered Embracer getting bloated as hell, and I'm not surprised about what's happened.
Yeah.
So, do you want to continue?
Okay, so Embracer Group has been on a losing streak of late, having recently missed out on a $2 billion investment, laid off thousands of employees, and sold one of its key properties, Gearbox, at a fire sale price. Now, the company has announced plans to split into 3 separate publicly listed entities, Bloomberg has reported. The first is Middle-earth Enterprises and Friends, specialising in AAA games and overseeing the Dead Island, Killing Floor, Kingdom Come, Deliverance, Tomb Raider and the Lord of the Rings franchises. Studios under its purview will include, obviously, Crystal Dynamics,
yep,
as Tomb Raider, Dambuster Studios, Eidos Montreal, Flying Wild Hog Studios, Tripwire, Vertigo Games, Warhorse Studios and 4A Games. This company will remain within the current listing as Embracer Group for now. The second is Asmodee, which will handle the tabletop gaming segment of Embracer Group. Titles it's overseeing includes Ticket to Ride, Seven Wonders, Azul, Catan, Dobble and Exploding Kittens. Finally, Coffee Stain and Friends is the company's indie-centric group with properties including Deep Rock Galactic, my throat is fucking killing me, Goat Simulator, Satisfactory, Wreckfest, Teardown and Valheim.
Now you listen, right, so you've listed a whole bunch of really successful and popular games.
Mm-hmm.
And you think, wait, so how have Embracer got into so much trouble? It's easy. They bought too many, too quickly, and they ended up losing a lot of money because of it.
Yep.
They could not sustain the size of the company because, like we keep saying with fucking Microsoft, you need, with Xbox, you need the stuff that you've already bought to start bringing stuff out before you go buy something else.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're just going to get extremely bloated, and yes, they do have Microsoft behind them, but eventually someone at Microsoft is going to look at all these acquisitions and start going, where's the return on our fucking investment?
Why did we buy these?
Why did we buy these, Phil?
If we haven't released a game in like 5 years when we bought them, why have we bought them?
Why are we spending all this money on these companies that haven't released anything or haven't made their money back? Why are we doing this, Phil? Eventually, someone is going to start asking those questions, and unfortunately for Phil Spencer, bullshitting himself out of the courtroom will not work when it's his own fucking bosses. But anyway, back to Embracer, who absolutely went stupid with...
Yeah, they bought a ridiculous amount of companies.
It was just totally unrealistic.
This move has been made with the intention to unleash the full potential of each team and provide them with their own leadership and strategic direction, said Embracer Group CEO Lars Wingfors.
So, my question is this. Are they still going to be under, the same umbrella company, and they're basically just given, semi-autonomy to be able to...
That's pretty much what it's going to be.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense in one sense, because they clearly need to sort things out.
Yeah. This is the start of a new chapter that I intend to remain part of as an active, committed and supported shareholder of all 3 new entities with an evergreen horizon. Embracer Group went on an epic buying streak between 2019 and 2022 when borrowing was cheap, acquiring studios and entertainment groups including Crystal Dynamics, Gearbox Entertainment, Dark Horse Media, yeah, I forgot we bought Dark Horse, Middle-earth Enterprises and many, many others. Those came with gaming franchises including Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, Borderlands, Saints Row. It was forced to restructure though when it lost out on a $2 billion partnership deal reportedly with Savvy Games, founded by the Saudi government. It subsequently laid off 8% of its staff as of February 2024, or nearly 1,400 employees. The company also sold off Borderlands developer Gearbox for $460 million. That's a bargain, by the way.
Considering how much they paid for Gearbox. Yeah. It's
a fraction of the cost, because it was like 1.3 billion.
They spent 1.3 billion, and they've sold it for 400 and odd million. It's just, we're not the only ones that were saying that. Embracer were acquiring too many companies too quickly and spending way too much money, and it's not sustainable. And eventually, something's going to have to give.
Yeah, they're going to have to do something.
Something was going to have to give. We weren't the only people saying it, because it's common fucking sense. Like, we complain about, we go on about Microsoft buying too many companies too quickly, etc., etc.
Yeah.
But Embracer made Microsoft's acquisition speed look like a stroll. It was insignificant in
it was like Embracer had a turbo jacket on the back.
Yeah.
While Microsoft was just leisurely strolling through the fucking park.
And don't get me wrong, I still believe Microsoft should really ease off on the acquisitions and just, focus on the stuff they've already got to actually make sure they get actual good games out. That is my opinion. They should. I don't believe they will, because Phil Spencer is a fucking idiot.
I think it all depends on the next Xbox. I think if they come out and start selling the Xbox as a
online only,
possibly online only, but if they start doing it, it's the most powerful thing. The same thing that they've always done.
Yeah,
it's the most powerful console ever to exist, and all that sort of shit. I'm instantly going to go, no, it's not going to work.
The thing is, it's weird, because it's like Sony said that about the PS3. That was the thing that drove the PS3.
Yeah,
like that they focused on. It's the most powerful. Blah 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 blah. And the Sony, everyone admits the PS3 got beat up by the Xbox 360. The 360 had much better games, a lot more better games, and was just a better console, per se. Again, I don't agree with how Microsoft monetized that console, in the fact that, you can expand the memory on that, but you have to buy a specific 360 memory that is 10 times more costly than a normal laptop hard drive of the same size. So that's the reason why I don't like Microsoft, because it's always you have to do it the Microsoft way, like Apple, except instead of OS systems, it's upgrades.
But yeah, back to Embracer. They didn't have I don't think a single game's come out of any of the companies that they bought.
Well, actually, no. Deep Rock Galactic, the people behind Deep Rock Galactic have released the
Survival.
The Survival one.
Yeah.
Which is actually pretty good and doing well. There's been a whole bunch of little games. There's no massive sellers that they've released. None of the major IPs have been released. We've had the Tomb Raider collection. Yeah,
and actually looking at the new Tomb Raider, I've already decided no. That game is not for me.
They have had one or two, but the problem is, like we said, because they spent so much money and they did it by borrowing.
Yeah.
They should have really focused on, instead of, they went too fast, too far, borrowed too much, and now everything's coming home to roost, and they've had to get rid of a whole bunch of stuff, and unfortunately sack a whole bunch of people. Hopefully the management, the senior executives and the board of directors have learned their lesson. I doubt it, because unless it actually physically impacts on them.
Maybe they have, because it does look like they're doing it in a way where, say, because they've got the three under the one umbrella. Say one doesn't do well, they've got the other two to hopefully balance out.
Yeah,
it's whether or not
they do that.
The strategy works.
Yeah, it's also whether or not they go, well, these two are doing really well, so it'll keep that one up, prop that up, or they go, well, these are doing well, that's doing terribly, we'll just cut that off.
Yeah. But I'll keep an eye on them, basically.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on them.
About it, so
yeah, we've kept an eye on them since they since they put on the turbo turbo jets for the
they if I remember correctly, they became the
fastest.
At one point, they were the biggest publisher in Europe.
Yeah, because they bought too many, and it's like, don't do that.
But yeah. So who knows? I think it possibly may work if the strategy is like we've got them in 3 things, so as long as 2 of them do well,
we can prop up the
other one.
Basically, it's like, well, as a whole, we can make a profit, but because these 3 are now focusing on their specific their specific zones, they can maximize their potential, sort of thing. I think that's a theory behind this decision, but only time will tell if it works out. But yeah, note to anyone who is a major corporation: don't go buying 20,000 freaking companies without actually, having a plan and instead of just like, oh, we'll just release games. Especially, don't do what Embracer did. Basically, don't overbloat your company.
Yeah, just don't.
It never ends well, and the people who suffer the most are the friggin' staff who have no choice in the matter.
God. Right. Okay. So, moving on. A little bit of good news. The only real good news that I could find, really. The rest of it was just more of a when you get those weird articles about
clickbait ones.
Yeah, and stupid ones that are like what your Genshin main says about you. That sort of shit. So this one is.
They're funny to do on if you were streaming, I suppose. And they'll go, which Genshin Impact character are you the most like? And I'm like, fuck it, don't care.
I'm Bennett. I already know the answer. I'm Bennett. I'm happy-go-lucky, but my luck is just 0, so bad things happen to me. Anyway, okay, so yeah, in London, it is at least the UK's anyway, the UK's first professional women's gaming tournament, and that starts. Does it start this Saturday or did it start last Saturday? When was this? So yeah, it started
last Saturday.
Yeah, I started over the weekend.
Yeah.
Right.
So 2 days ago.
4 teams of professional gamers will play the first-person shooter game Valorant, which at the moment is the biggest esport. Or at least the most watched.
Yeah, I was about to say
it doesn't have the biggest prize pool. But
no, that usually goes to
Dota.
Dota,
because Dota has a million fucking.
It's usually you got Dota, you got League of Legends, and then
it's usually Dota, then it's League of Legends, then it's usually a few of the fighting games.
Yeah, so you get it'd be Tekken 8, Street Fighter 6, etc., etc.
Then you got obviously CS:GO and Valorant and all that sort of stuff.
And when Activision Blizzard used to actually support it, StarCraft 2 was up there.
So, yeah, the players are competing over 2 days at London's Red Bull Gaming Sphere, which I'm pretty sure is the Millennium Dome.
Probably. I think it is actually in the Millennium Dome. I could be wrong.
But for a prize pool of £15,000.
Not bad. Not to be sniffed at.
I'm trying to find something because unfortunately the article is literally just people talking about this is good, and I'm like, no, give me details.
Give me details. What's the format? Is there any notable names?
It's just 4 teams. It's just 4 teams. There isn't other than there's no.
I mean, everything has to have a starting point.
Yeah, I think this is a good thing of maybe looking at setting up women's leagues in esports.
Because in a sense, to get to the elite level, you need to be playing competitively on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Which for the female side of the sport, it's not really that developed, unfortunately. It's the same with a lot of sports, actually. Like,
well, the thing is, right, so as we know, esports is for everyone. Male, female, trans, you can all jump in. The problem is once you get to the higher levels, right? Like the levels that you see on like major tournaments and stuff like that. Once you get to that point, usually what you'll see is when a new team comes in, and which this would be, like I think League of Legends had one where there was a full women's team.
Yeah.
And they infamously got bodied by everyone, right? And I think the thing is that there's not enough. You need like experience.
Yeah, you need proper feeder tournaments.
Because you need real experience, and there's not a lot of those that are like. I don't want to say for women. Because esports should be for everybody.
Yeah.
But what I mean is like
there's a lot
harder.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder for women to get in, due to the fact that one, to be fair, there isn't a lot of female esports competitors. There's not a lot. They're there. They are there, but there's not a lot. A lot of when it comes to female gamers, a lot of them are more streamers and. Or more on the entertainment side, than actual competitive side, and so I'm trying to think of how I can get my point across without sounding like a knobhead.
I think basically it's because you can't just make a team and dump them into...
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't just make an entire team of women and then shove them into a tournament and expect them to do well. Number one, because like that's never going to happen, that's never going to work. And number two, not only are you putting pressure on these people by being like, oh, here you go, we've made you a team, you're in the big leagues now, good luck with that. You're also putting the pressure on because like League of Legends, like
it does more harm.
It does more harms because the way they bigged that team up was ridiculous. Yeah, and it was just like, what are you doing? Just tell us what they are. Yes, they're an all-women's team. They are this team.
They are brand
new. They are coming into a tournament.
Even if like that team was full of like massively experienced players, right? There's still a new team working together.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of communication stuff, and like it takes time, and not just like 1-2 weeks through 2-3 months. No, we're talking. It takes a year, sometimes even longer, to get to a point where where teams can.
I mean, have you heard how they talk when they're on?
Oh yeah.
The way they talk, like. With all of them at the same time talking.
Yeah, the way teams communicate, a lot of it is through experience of how each other like terms and it takes time to set it up. You can't just make a team and throw them into a tournament and expect them to do well. They're going to get beat. They have to start, and like I say, there's not enough. It's a very male dominated scene,
which is not a bad thing. I'm not.
I know, but it's the reason why it's harder for women to get in, because it's very male dominated, and having feeder tournaments that are specifically designed to show off the skills and abilities of the women of the sport is a good thing, and they will and that's how they get better as well. It's like they can train as much as they want, but until they actually like come up against other teams that are hard training as well, there'll only be a set level they'll be able to get to.
There'll always be that ceiling.
Yeah.
That they can't get out.
Through competition is how they get better, because because when things are actually on the line, they'll be able to learn more, etc., etc., etc. And I think that's the theory behind this tournament. And I'm perfectly happy with that.
I generally think, I think this is a good idea.
It's the similar sort of thing that Formula One tried to do with the W League. W League or Formula W?
Where they try to get female drivers.
Yeah, which they did. Then the racing was actually not that bad. I think the problem is that I don't think Formula One wanted to invest the amount it needed to keep it running. and didn't and basically they basically wanted it not to.
No, I think what happened is they didn't get their female Lewis Hamilton or female Max Verstappen on the first try.
Yeah,
because we know what Formula One are like. We know what they're like. Like if they don't get exactly what they want,
this sort of thing takes time. You have to put in the investment and you have to put in the commitment, because the worst thing that can happen to this tournament is it has one tournament and then it never comes back.
Yeah,
it needs to come back yearly. It needs to, and it helps show off.
They need to push as well.
Yeah,
they're like other games could do this quite easily.
And we're not saying women should only be in these tournaments. It's like no, they should be allowed, if they're good enough to go into a tournament at Evo or a tournament on at is it Dream or the finals, or
if they're good enough to enter the CS:GO,
the international
or
the international, if they get good enough, they deserve to be there. But the problem is that they need to be able to get that foot in the door.
Yeah, that's what this is. It's just a foot in the door for these people.
Yeah, and it's hopefully a launch pad to give them regular competition, so that they can improve and get to the point where they can get into the international, into Evo, into etc. 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 And that is only a good more competition in a sporting sense is always a good thing, because it forces those that potentially could be getting comfortable if they win all the time. Just look at the Premier League. Just look at the Premier League. A lot of the so-called Big Six got really comfortable, and now some of them, like Man United, are getting their asses spanked quite regularly.
And Chelsea.
Yeah. More competition always is a good thing. And helping people get a foot in the door to get experience in a competition format is never a bad thing.
It's also good for just like getting them experience on LAN.
Yeah.
Things.
Yeah, exactly.
That's another thing. A lot of people are not like. I know for a fact that if I was ever part of a team, it would be an online thing, and then if I had to go LAN, because the two are completely different.
It's the same game, but the difference is with a LAN, I believe that there isn't as much lag.
No,
you get used to certain games lags and be able to preempt it, and then it's a whole different skills to relearn that skill set when you go to a LAN, because everything is either faster or the timings are different, etc., etc. But also, you're not just chatting to your team. You'll be potentially your opponents will be able to hear you talk. Yeah, so it's a whole new different skill set of communication and etc. And it's just, like I say, it's a foot in the door, and I hope it continues and should be expanded on.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. It's really good. It's also
it needs the time and investment though to make it work. And I'm worried that it won't get the time and investment that it needs.
Probably not. This is the gaming industry.
Yeah. They want instances. Well, it's sports. Most like.
The thing is, what I think, even if say the gaming industry doesn't do it, hopefully this will do well enough that maybe fans can, like female fans of Valorant or other games, can think, well, we can do that.
Yeah.
So
and the best, maybe the best, the best tournaments, the biggest tournaments, are unlike what Activision Blizzard would like you to believe, are naturally grow.
Yeah, and they're all been fan events. Evo was a fan.
Yeah, Evo was fans.
It was an arcade. It was just an arcade.
Yeah,
for a very long time.
The early Evo events you watch, it's literally a dude recording with a camcorder.
Yeah.
It is. And now Evo is the fighting tournament to go to.
So, yeah.
Good luck to all.
It's probably
been done now. But congratulations to them.
Unfortunately, I couldn't find anything that said there was a winner. So
it might be a 2-weekend event. I don't know.
Possibly.
I don't know but again, like Valorant, unfortunately, Valorant is not not my cup of tea, to be honest. I've never really...
Valorant's not my cup of tea either.
Never really, like, the CSGOs,
The
Valorant...
only esport I've ever watched was Overwatch League. That was it. And that was because I was a big fan of Overwatch.
Yeah.
But now I hate Overwatch. And also Overwatch League.
Well, you hate what Overwatch has become.
Overwatch League is now dead.
Yeah.
So
you hate what Overwatch has become, not Overwatch per se.
No, I'd go as far to say as I hate Overwatch now. I hate it. Even though Arissa's over there looking at me like, no.
How dare you?
Yeah. Have you seen what they've done? So you know how all the good things that we were talking about last time?
Yeah.
Right? Have you seen the price of the Mythic skins?
Oh, yeah.
They're fucking ridiculous.
Well, we've always said the Blizzard shop is the most overpriced, underperforming, and ridiculous store.
They're more expensive than games.
Oh yeah,
I was like, what the fuck?
Now again, like, as we digress onto Overwatch again, and the bat comes out, I wouldn't complain about overpriced DLC.
I would.
No, let me finish. If they could point and go, well, the vast majority of that money goes to the artist that designed that DLC.
Yeah.
That costume. That cosmetic. The vast majority of the money goes there. But we all know that's not where the money's going.
Yeah, I know.
And it's not even going back into the game.
No.
So, where's it going? Well, obviously, you start with the CEO and the board of directors and then the shareholders. And, because it doesn't go into
It's going to Microsoft.
Yeah, it's going to Microsoft. If Microsoft were to actually be true to their word that like this deal to take over Activision Blizzard
was for
gamers, the easiest thing they could have done is revamp both the Diablo 4 and the Overwatch 2 shops and reduce the prices on everything by 50% at least. But no, they've just left it as is because that's not why Microsoft bought Activision Blizzard.
Nope.
Because Microsoft wants a monopoly. Because that's the only way they get to be competitive when they're competing against no one.
Yeah, pretty much. Anyway, so I think we'll end there.
Yeah.
Not a bad chat.
No.
And like I said, nothing massive happened.
No, to be honest, sometimes I deem that as a good thing because it's AAA game industry and usually when something massive happens, it's a negative.
Yeah, me too.
EA, Activision Blizzard, we're looking at you.
But I think I'll leave it there. I do hope you've enjoyed this chat and we'll see you in the next one. Hopefully in the next one my throat will be better and I won't sound like I'm dying.
Maybe it'll be me.
Yeah, probably be you. Bye now.
Toodles.